Sonicstate here at Synthfest 2023. I'm here with Richard from, well, Omnibus Press,
My name's Richard Evans.
Yeah.
I published a book for Omnibus Press.
Right.
And Omnibus Press have a stand here at Synthfest. And I'm selling my book and also some other fine books from Omnibus Press's range.
Cool. So, what I noticed that your book, if you hold the book up to the camera,
There we go.
I noticed the foreword was from Vince Clarke. So I
Yes.
thought straight away, there's a story here that we must know. So, okay, can you just tell us a little bit what the name of the book is and it's kind of,
Okay.
what it's aiming to tell us all about?
Okay, the book is called Listening to the Music the Machines Make.
Yep.
Inventing Electronic Pop, 1978 to 1983. It's quite specific.
A lot of things happened in those
A lot
years.
of things happened in those years. It has a foreword by Vince Clarke from Depeche Mode, Yazoo and Erasure.
Right.
And I wrote it and it was published by Omnibus Press.
Oh, lovely. So, I mean, I guess what's interesting to our audience then really is that this was a really fertile period in electronic music. What was the inspiration for writing the book?
It occurred to me that although these bands made records that were fantastic and they're part of the canon, they're now considered classics, no one has really celebrated these bands together as a movement in a book form. It's like I read all the individual books, it's like Duran Duran books and the Spandau Ballet books and the Steve Strange book and the Soft Cell books and all of that, but I thought it would be great to try and put all those stories together in one place. But instead of talking to people now, after 45 years of retelling those stories over and over again, I'd go back to the original press of the time. So I looked at every single copy of the NME, the Melody Maker, of Sounds, of Smash Hits, of Zigzag, everything I could find for this whole period, 78 to 83. And I collected all the things that happened as they happened and told that story in the book.
Lovely. So, I mean, it's got quite a sort of British sort of angle to it, but then this was a particularly fertile time in British pop music, wasn't it?
It was an incredible time in British pop music. I think on the coattails of punk, people weren't that interested in the punk music. These people weren't that interested in the punk music, but they loved the fact that you could make your own records. And there was a circuit that you could tour on, and there was like an infrastructure in place that could be tapped into. And they, instead of picking up guitars, they picked up synthesizers, which suddenly had become available and affordable. Yeah. So these things all happened at the same time.
Right.
And these musical instruments fell into the hands of people who basically didn't know how to use them.
Yeah.
And because of that, they kind of invented a whole new vernacular, new language for electronic music.
So, I mean, what would be? I mean, I'm thinking like Human League being boiled would be an early. I guess if we're starting 78.
Yep.
So a lot of the bands, I guess, were inspired by a lot of the stuff coming out of Germany, and then
That's absolutely true. The first part of the book is a sort of setting up pre 1978. What were people listening to? So they were listening to the German bands, Kraftwerk, Can, Neu, whoever it might have been. They were listening to disco. They were listening to a little bit of progressive rock. They were listening to a bit of everything. And all these things sort of fed in to 1978. And my initial sort of structure for the book was that I'd start with Being Boiled and I'd finish with Blue Monday, which sort of dictated the span. And more or less I did that. There's a little bit before Being Boiled and there's a little bit after Blue Monday.
Okay.
But that's basically the scope of the book.
Ah, nice. Okay, so I mean, and there is we should mention that this isn't a book about gear. This is a book about the artists and the music that they made.
Absolutely.
However, there is like kind of a story that is running alongside this, which is the story of
absolutely.
about the gear. But this one is a story about people, and I'm always trying to find the people's story. Okay, so the book's available now.
It is.
And people find it in your good bookshops.
All good bookshops, online and offline.
Amazing. Thanks so much for telling us about it.
A pleasure.
Thank you.